In our written portion of our lesson from Where Love Flows Free, we've been talking about Job and the anguish that he was in, the deep depths of despair when he had lost everything. And when he was questioning God, God answered him and said, "Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea or walked in the recesses of the deep?" And let's spend a minute taking a little academic dive into the depths. The ocean can be divided into 5 zones based on the depth of the water. The epipelagic zone, known as a sunlit zone, extends from the water's surface to around 100 meters below. As it sounds, this is the area where sunlight penetrates the water, and an estimated 90% of sea creatures live. Humans cannot dive deeper than this zone due to the crushing pressure of the depths. The mesopelagic zone, known as the twilight zone, extends to 1,000 meters and receives sunlight, but not near as much as the sunlit zone. Fewer underwater species populate this zone, where pressures increase and light diminishes. The bathypelagic zone extends to 4,000 meters and is known as the midnight zone. The anglerfish, the one that has a bioluminescent light, is one of the sea creatures that live in this dark, cold zone. The abyssopelagic zone, also known as the abyss, extends 6,000 meters below the ocean surface, and only organisms that can handle the extreme conditions of no light, high pressure, and freezing temperatures are found here. The deeper you go into the ocean, the harder survival is. In terms of our Bible study, why is this notable? Well, let's compare the depths of the ocean to the depths of our spiritual faith and our journey. The closer we remain to the light, which we know as Jesus, the better our life is, and the more life that we're surrounded by. In John chapter 8, verse 12, Jesus says, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." So if we're staying close to the surface, close to the light, we're going to have Jesus as our guide. But if we sink deeper, away from the light, we find that life gets harder, less hospitable. Our way is obscured by darkness. There's isolation, a coldness, crushing pressures. Those around us are in survival mode. And there's predators like the anglerfish, which mimic true light in attempts to eat us alive. The depths are a dark, cold, hard, lonely, and unrelenting place to be. In Psalm 88, one of the sons of Korah describes it as this: "You have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions of the dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you overwhelm me with all of your waves." Another account that highlights both the lowest of lows and the highest of hopes is that of David. You may remember David as a young man who was anointed king, while the current king Saul was still reigning. Now Saul had fallen out of God's grace in disobedience, and God had told him, "You're no longer going to hold the kingdom, and it's going to be given to someone else," and that someone else was David. And so as a young man, he's given this incredible honor to be king. However, the current king Saul wanted him dead. So this young man finds himself fleeing for his life, leaving his family, his friends, and hiding in dark caves. And from one of those caves, he wrote this: "I cry to you, O Lord. I say, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Attend to my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are too strong for me. Bring me out of prison, that I may give thanks to your name." It sounds so hopeless, and it feels that way in the midst of it. But David, who had his fair share of times in the depths, also has had a lot of instances where God was so faithful and brought him through that valley of the shadow of death. And so he offers the faith that he's gained from serving a faithful God. In Psalm 40, 1 and 2, David said, "I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the pit of destruction, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock." Praise be to God that he has called us out of darkness and into his light. 1 Peter 2:9 tells us, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light." Think about that for a minute. God chose us. He called us out of those depths. He rescued us. He wants to bring us back into the light where life is more hospitable. It's no longer lonely. We have people around us. It's warmer, less crushing, less pressure. And best of all, there's a light, the light that will guide us. And there's abundant life all around us. We have to remember that the depths, though crushing and really dangerous to us as humans, they are in complete submission to God who made them. And our God has been saving people from those depths since the very beginning of time. We see that God had saved Noah and the faithful from the flood that overtook the earth. Through the Red Sea, he brought his people. He saved Jonah from the depths of the sea. There's many shipwrecks and storms that he's calmed. So God has full power over the depths, and he's willing and ready to pull us from them. So if you or somebody that you know feels like you're sinking into those, do what David did. Call out to God, because just like God was inclined towards David, he's inclined to you and me, and he's listening and he's waiting for us to call from those depths, and he's ready to rescue. And he wants to bring us into his marvelous light.